Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. I pressed the wrong button there because I'm an idiot. Ha! I'll wait for people to jump in. But if you're in the chat, hello. Come and say hello. Oh, what a day. Leave a like. There we go. If you're new, subscribe as always. And yeah, we'll see where things go. Obviously, the title is The Ultimate Bear Trap. Is it a bear trap? Is this a black swan? Is DeepSeek an absolute lot of bollocks? Possibly. So we need to look at that as a factor. We will talk about it. We'll look at a few things, nothing crazy. But yeah, I'm just getting my screen ready because I'm a little bit behind today on certain things. So things are looking very, very, very interesting. But yeah, as always, say hello. Let me know where you're from. And let's see if this is the bear trap. Let me know if you agree with me. Is this the bear trap? Is this the end of the potential correction? A little bit of a spook in the market, which we often like, love, hate sometimes. But if you're in Bitcoin miners like myself, you probably would be feeling it right now because it was a bit horrible. But yeah, I do apologize for yesterday's live stream for the amount of dropped frames we had. For some reason, I don't know what was wrong. YouTube was really glitchy yesterday, and I'm not changing any of my settings. And we had like 5% drop frames, which basically means on the replay you'll see it's a bit stuttery. It's like blah, blah, blah. It's like your internet's dying, but it's not. Currently watching it right now, it's 0% drop frames, which is a good start considering this is in 4K. When it uploads as an actual video, it will be full 4K, which is why it looks like a normal video. I am not pre-recording this. This is a live stream. Hello, everyone. And let's see what's happening in the chat. So, hello, good morning, me too. Simon May from Portsmouth. Ooh, I used to live in Portsmouth. I used to do police training in Portsmouth back in the day. I loved that city. It's decent. Highlands in Scotland. Oh, is it snowing yet? Is it snowing? Probably. But yeah. Anyways, let's crack on with said piece of action. I've added some graphics onto my lovely live stream just because why not? Learning Crypto, Patreon, check it out. So, if you're not yet done so, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, you probably can't talk on the chat, so make sure you get engaged and talk and do so. But the chart that is doing the rounds, and I'll blow it up in a minute, is this. It's basically an RSI Bollinger Band percentage about phases and crossovers and all kinds of weird and wonderful stuff, and it is pretty good, right? And I'm going to back it up with something else, which is quite interesting. So when we zoom it in, hello, you can see that we've got bear market breakouts, first cycle breakout recovery, second early top, all-time high breaks, and cycle tops. We're obviously waiting for the cycle top now. We are currently in position where every single time it's looking a bit interesting, certainly over the last 2 or 3 cycles. So when we talk about where we are above all-time high, which is a different factor here. But when we talk about the potential crossings between September and October, now I've been saying in my videos, I think between the summer up to maybe September, October would be a really good place to kind of evaluate life if the market has done exactly what we expect it to do. Obviously, I always say return of investment is the best form of like kind of validation because you can go, I have made a lot of money here. I'm going to take my money off the table because that makes sense. Now, this is only one bit of the story. I'm going to back it up with something else, which is a pie predictor. The pie chart indicator is also very good for this. But where we are right now is very, very interesting. Now, for obvious reasons, the one thing that I don't like is the fact that we are above all-time high as this phase is kind of beginning. It could be very, very interesting to see where we go from here. So we need that one big rally up. However, I'm going to say it now, and you might not like it. The title of the thumbnail and all that stuff is Bitcoin. This chart is Bitcoin. The next chart is Bitcoin. I don't know if altcoins are going to run with it. That's the ultimate thing. Maybe runes do, maybe ordinals do, maybe Bitcoin related stuff might do. I don't know. Maybe some altcoins that are related to Bitcoin could do very well with a bit of a spillover. Do I think Solana and Ethereum and XRP is going to go to the moon in the BTC pair, that is? I don't know. I really don't know. So this is an interesting point. This is where we need to talk about it. When we talk about the pie cycle top, this is a really, really good indicator, by the way. Just going to put that point out there. Not perfect, but good. This was a couple of weeks ago, actually looking at December times. Now it's down into like predicted cross in October. So that, as I say, kind of somewhat backs it up. And as I say before, if you got looking at crossovers, they do, they work. It's like, oh my God, that's mental. And this is for the top prediction, by the way, not the bottom. These are bottom one, too. So be mindful of that. However, as I say, the title, and as you say, if you want to agree with me or not, or whatever, leave a like if you agree or whatever. I don't know. It's okay. It feels odd. This feels odd. And I mentioned it yesterday. It's all coincidence, right? Why did DeepSeek get dropped a couple of days before earnings? Why was it dropped in that way? Why have they now stopped everyone else from buying into it as or using it? They've all restricted it to Chinese phone numbers now, right? So stuff like that, it makes you wonder, well, why? Why have you done that now? Why now? Why have you done that now? So it's like, well, everyone's had a little look, everyone's had a little gander at it, and that's it. We've also got to look at the fact of the information that they brought out, and you can see here, the amount of tech that has been spent on AI infrastructure here alone is boggling. We're into the billions, billions, and billions, right? Whereas DeepSeek has stated, oh, we've only spent millions, right? Very, very odd. And again, as I've alluded to it before, and I've said it in a tweet, there's a good chance that they're talking bollocks. And we all know the Chinese like to talk bollocks when it comes to earnings. They like to kind of exaggerate little things, they like to keep things a little bit hidden. And at the end of the day, to achieve what it's achieved with that little cost is very odd. And as I say, it's all about what if scenarios. And it's an obvious factor. Oh, we're going to get the market to kind of crumble a little bit because of the obvious. Nvidia, are you overcharging us, mate? Meta, and Facebook, for example. Are we getting more people to invest with you to do AI? Why? What am I getting for my money? So that sort of vibe. So people are going to panic. That's where the ultimate bottom is in terms of all of that. And that's why I'm thinking this is a massive overreaction. It's sparking a bit of a bear trap where it's getting that quick, sharp shock into a aggressive price rise. And what has happened with the analysis? Well, the analysis is very simple. We'll look at miners in a second because they've done atrocious. We have realistically, literally just bounced right off that range low, and we're now back above this level, which is a really interesting level, by the way. So fingers crossed it stays as it should. You know, and me and Gaz on the Learning Crypto video that's going to go out tonight talked about, the news is a part of the reaction. The local top was there. There was a divergence. We've rejected all-time high. We've had Donald Trump's inauguration. That news just looked great for an excuse to go, I'm going to sell. Liquidations happen, whatever, creates that downward spiral. But we could realistically go higher from here because nothing's changed in the structure. Bitcoin looks fine. Altcoins, no, they look different. But Bitcoin alone looks all right. But as I said, for the likes of the S&P 500, are we going to recover? Well, that looks all right. And we've got to remember the Magnificent Seven here. Now, in terms of data, what's interesting here, I've kind of found something before, but I don't know where it's gone. I've lost it. Where's it gone? Bloody poo. Somewhere. There was a bit of data that I had, and I might have just like deleted it because I'm an idiot. Is it on here? Don't know. I had some data basically saying that how essentially, there it is, found it. The S&P 500 nearly loses 1.5%, but more than 300 of its stocks rose today. So basically that just shows you the amount of weight in those Magnificent Seven stocks, which is going to be an interesting point for the market. As you can see here, yeah, this red zone here is an interesting zone, and we bounced off it again. So yeah, stuff like that is massive. Obviously, the Russell took a bit of a nosedive yesterday, but we could be recovering on this. And everything, as I say, is looking structurally okay at the minute, right? It's only day one of the recovery. So it might well just be a little bit of a flutter, a little bit of a kick, and it might well send us higher because this is, again, change character. We've broken structure. If it holds this level, and if I just annotate that and make it a little bit neater for you, we could be going back up again. So all of this is looking relatively good. So it's not terrible. However, if anyone is in the miners, let me know in the comments. The miners got hit yesterday. You might have seen my portfolio yesterday. Yeah, I lost a lot of money yesterday on my miners. Like, obviously, TerraWolf dropped a lot. I'm hoping for the pre-market to really zip up, but we'll see. The reason why some of these have done so bad is because they are literally using NVIDIA chips and HPC technology, basically AI, and they mine Bitcoin a lot cheaper than obviously traditional kind of stuff like, CleanSpark. And with the news of that is kind of obvious. It's going to really upset the apple cart very, very quickly. So it did. But yeah, beautifully timed in my humble opinion. Whether that stays the same thing or not, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'll have a look at the chat. Let's have a look, see what's happening. Only 18 likes. Come on, guys. Let's get this likes up. It's not the most jazzy video today because it is mainly Bitcoin related. And I know a lot of you like altcoins, but ultimately the proof is in the pudding. We need Bitcoin to do well, and we need the market to do well, and we need the S&P to do well, and we need liquidity to come into the market to allow things to flow. Unfortunately, we've got some Portsmouth fans in here. Hello. Who have we got? Hello from Australia. Hello. A couple of Australians here. Probably Australia is a perfect time for this, isn't it? Realistically. Perfectly timed, beautifully timed, wasn't it? Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously, I mentioned yesterday we've got earning season. Earning season for like Nvidia and all the big tech. The next 2 weeks, it's big tech. Woof. So that's always going to rattle the cage a little bit. So we need to be very, very mindful of that. If that is the thing, well, we'll see what the data comes out as. But we've got FOMC tomorrow. FOMC tomorrow could be one massive ignition. If it is a good FOMC, and I don't know if it's going to be, by the way, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't know what the base case is at the minute because there were some changes in December. If it is a rate cut, and it's a good one, and also Mr. Powell comes out and says some nice things and things have changed a little bit, it may well be very, very good. What if 100K was supposed to be the last cycle top and then we are on track? It depends. Depends on where you look at it in terms of the narrative. For me, I don't think it's a top. I think we've still got a couple more months to go. Whether that lasts longer or not, it depends on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin really hurtles, it's going to change the narrative a little bit. What else have we got? Yep, we're on a lot of mine. Yep, me too. Not looking good. It might bounce. A lot of people are very bullish in the mining community of a potential, what do you call it? Shake out. SPX, BTC, total 3 hit spot yesterday. Could get some upside. Yep. I think we are going to see some upside. I think it depends on tomorrow. It really does depend on tomorrow. As much as I'm saying bear trap, if the news is terrible tomorrow, it's just going to kick the can downwards again. It's like, oh, bollocks. But we'll see. Am I still a fan of Bifrost? Not really, no. The Polkadot ecosystem's far too hard to use. It just doesn't work, realistically. Magic Eden, market cap 250 and Jupe 2 billion. Would it replicate? Potentially. Magic Eden's in a really interesting position where it's got most cross-chain functionality for a wallet and obviously a platform. Ordinals take off, NFTs take off. If runes do well and they do their upgrades, Magic Eden could be a very, very interesting place for Bitcoin whales to kind of be. So if you think money and monetary value of BTC holdings and they are using that to buy ordinals, shit, that could be interesting. So we need to be looking at that. What do the projected earnings look like? It depends what you're looking at. I mean, if I look at, bear with me, Nvidia in terms of earnings. So we have got earnings next month for Nvidia. I'm not quite sure what data we've got really for some of these. We've got Amazon. When we got Amazon? Next week. I don't know what the projected earnings are. I think a couple of them are very, very soon. Obviously, AMD is soon. I'm not sure if we've got the projected earnings on here, to be honest with you. So it'd be very interesting to see what they come out as. Realistically, it tends to come out a week before. Well, I wouldn't say a week before, but the data on it is not great half the time. What's Meta? Estimate. Yeah, the estimates are there, but I don't know what the previous ones are. I've not gone too deep, to be fair. Dividends, earnings. So Microsoft is very soon. It'll be very interesting what they do. Could be very. We shall see. We shall see what happens. It might go absolutely mental. It might not. I don't know. At the end of the day, it could be very, very interesting. But the reality is here, a lot of things need to change in this market. We need to see what happens with the inflation data. We need to see what happens with obviously interest and how many cuts they want to do. There's still rumors and echoings of people getting, I wouldn't say upset, but obviously people are going, oh, recession incoming. And at the end of the day, it could really change things. I'm just checking something, bear with me. Uh, yeah, there's some big boy earnings. So what I'm looking at the minute is look at literally YouTube just to see what's happening. Now, the YouTube indicator is brilliant for some stuff, and obviously we all know clickbait. And my thumbnail looks pretty good. I know there's more than 30 people watching. Hello, there's me. Obviously, the last few days we've talked bubbles and price predictions, Bitcoin strategic reserve. Obviously, there's all kinds of stuff happening, right? The problem is no one is talking about tech earnings, and I think that's going to be the interesting point here. At the end of the day, you got good big tech earnings, which is like the Magnificent Seven of the S&P 500. We've obviously got to look at the fact of where they could go. Obviously, you can see here, like Microsoft here is like bounced a little bit in terms of where. Well, I wouldn't say it's bounced, but you get the idea. It's not done terrible versus everything else. The reality is, though, they could do much worse. Obviously, Coinbase down 6% yesterday. Obviously, mine's got a massive hit. It depends on, there's so many things happening this week. It's ridiculous. It really is. And I think people forget that. So if I go into the market wrap, bear with me. Let's have a little look at what's happening here. Right. So we have got obviously a lot of earnings. Here we go. So that's the big one, right? We've obviously got this earnings. We've obviously got Apple on Thursday. We've got ECB rate decisions followed by her talking a lot of shite. And then other bits and pieces that could well create problems with the data, obviously here. It's a perfect place to just plonk a little bit of doubt in there, in the mind of investors right on crunch time. Because at the end of the day, as I mentioned before, in December, they went, we're not going to do 4 rate cuts, we're going to do 2. And that really cancelled Christmas. We were in a really good momentum run then, and it just sunk. So when we look at like December time, for a lot of altcoins and a lot of stocks, this December time, everything just went, it just went, no. And then even the other day, when we talk about how momentum was kind of running, we did a new all-time high in the S&P 500, which is mad in itself. Madness. And now we're down here because we've had a bit of a wobble. This could send us high for the S&P 500. Obviously, the dollar has been dropping a little bit. Nothing crazy, just a little bit, but that could be good. Obviously, Trump is now in power. Certain things are going to probably change. Whether that means the FOMC is going to change and that's going to allow things to breathe. Are we going to get lower interest rates to stimulate borrowing? Are we going to potentially get a problem in the economy because of that? And then we need to do quantitative easing. I mean, that's another question. Everyone's crying out for quantitative easing, but normally that's when something's gone wrong. Do we need a recession for it to all just make money print happen and to survive and then get the liquidity? I don't know. That's another. Let me know. Let me know in the comments what you think on that one, because I think that's an interesting point too. If you're not yet done so, please do subscribe to the channel. I know it's quite lonely. It's very, very small. Weirdly, I get no subscribers at the minute just because everyone is watching other people. Not ideal, is it? So yeah, let's see where we go from here. In the obvious term, hold on, let me just refresh this. The quarterly earnings so far of Bitcoin is not bad, not terrible for January, but it's everything else. Everyone who's not in Bitcoin's hurting right now, and I understand why. It's, you're watching other things moon, and it's like, oh, it's a bit crap, really. So yeah. What's been said here? Well, she said by April we'll make bank. Potentially, yeah. If you look at their returns here, if you look at like what's on the screen, if we are going to replicate anything like last year, Bitcoin's going to fly. As I said, whether altcoins go with it, whether we see big recoveries elsewhere, or certain things go up, such as Solana and interest in it, or Ethereum finally bounces, it might be interesting. But I personally think that Ethereum holds the cards to alt season. And I think there was, well, I don't know if it's true, but like they were saying that Vitalik was selling his Ethereum yesterday. So I don't know if that's true or not, whether that is true. So yeah, there's stuff like that that could be of very, very interest. But if we're going to replicate the course of, say, most of 2024, we should be all right. But it just depends, doesn't it? It really does depend in terms of where we are. And I know a lot of people will be disappointed at, say, 100, 180, 100, or 200K, 250K Bitcoin if you've been buying much higher. Certainly, Michael Saylor will probably be upset. But for me, I think it'll be an obvious top level. But I said that before, anything could be an obvious top. Let's be honest. Like, you could look at it in hindsight and go, oh, remember that when that happened? Oh, that was an obvious top, wasn't it? Oh, yeah, silly, wasn't it? Hopefully not, but you never know, dear. That's the only downside to it all, obviously. But we'll see where things go from here. YouTube is a good place to get realistic expectation odds. Yeah, there is no expectation. That's a problem. Although you do look at it and you go, that's a bit high. That's a bit bullish. That's a bit toppy. Okay. The demographic of it is brilliant sometimes. And I see my Discord community, either or, Learning Crypto or Patreon, right? They have the same sort of like behaviorisms, which is mad. It's like whenever it's really bad, it's interesting. But when it's really, really euphoric, it's worse. It's a lot worse. I always think it's worse when it's euphoric, but that's just me. It's just obvious. And then like you start taking screenshots of your portfolio, and then you think, I should be taking a profit here. Oops. 21 cycle by Q1, it was all over. Yeah, 2021 was an interesting one. I think QE and COVID kind of absolutely made it very, very interesting. I think people forget like how different that cycle was, and it was different. Honestly, I'm not joking. Like, not everything mooned. Some stuff did, and they were obvious, but there's a lot more tokens now. Like, a lot of people disagree with me, but yeah, there's a lot of meme coins, there's a lot of whatever, but there's a lot more tokens that do the same thing now, and that's where it gets a little bit different, and I don't like that. So we'll see how things go with that side of it. It could be very, very interesting to see where we go from here, realistically. Can people let me know how the stream's running? I can see a couple of drop frames, but there's only 0.4%, which is absolutely brilliant. I'm pretty sure yesterday was about 7%, so hopefully, fingers crossed, it's A-okay. What else we got? STX down 60% for a $3 high. Yeah, STX is an interesting one, but it kind of makes sense in terms of how they're doing it because they've built the technology, they've released it. It's now for the developers to come on board and to build stuff. I think once there's a couple of decent dApps on there, it might just totally change. You've also got to remember, what if, say, Magic Eden or other rune platforms want a layer 2 to allow runes or ordinals to be bought off the chain, and it's a lot faster, it's a lot more instant. Whereas if you buy runes, sometimes they do take a little bit of time to go through. But I'm still holding. I'm not that bothered, to be honest with you. It seems like an obvious play, really. A layer two blockchain that uses Bitcoin finality. I mean, you don't get any of those really. Are you holding any meme coins? I'm only holding Bitcoin runes as a bit of a Bitcoin-ish play. They are meme coins, let's be honest with you. I hold dog. Dog. If you're gonna buy runes, right? A little bit of advice for anyone. Now, everyone looks at the casino of Solana, which is very, very hard, very, very, very hard to pick an obvious winner. Whereas with the Bitcoin ecosystem, they've got big cults within them, and they don't have layer one exchange. No, not layer one. They don't have tier one, sorry, exchanges or spot changes because they're all fair launch, and you've got to buy the exchange have to buy them. So that's where it's different. So you can risk a lot less and potentially get more. That's where my thing is with it, realistically. In your Ash, what is your I can't read. In your opinion, which exchange token will pump the most? Neither of those. BitGet or Crow, I don't think will because they're already too high. I think you've got to look a bit further down the tree if you're going to find an exchange token to pump most. I think Borg could be an interesting one, Swiss Borg's token, because it's now regulated in more countries and it's very easy to use and very easily accessible. So that could be an option. They do launch pads now, so that's always a good thing. But it depends. Depends. There's so many factors. It may not pump this time because there might not be any retail, and then it doesn't work. it's that situation, isn't it? We just don't know. It's good to hear that the Scream is much better. The data looks much better. Honestly, yesterday was a bit of an odd one. I don't know what went wrong. No settings have been changed. My internet is totally the same. I just think the YouTube servers were just shit yesterday. Maybe the panic from DeepSeek is like, oh, we're gonna get attacked by the Chinese. Oh no. So yeah, it's all good. What's your thoughts on ISO to complaint coins? Interesting. I don't think they're going to do as well now because we've already had that initial pump. We've obviously had Hedra, we've had XLM, we've had XRP fly. Algorand did a bit of a move, but the problem with Algorand is they don't have many users. They've got good technology, they're secure, they're all like, I've mentioned this yesterday, but there's just no users. Until they get users, that's where it gets interesting. Obviously, XRP's already got users. It's got time in the market. It had an army of people. Once the shackles were off, boom. Same with XLM, same situation. Same with Hedger Hashgraph, same thing. They already had kind of some sort of enterprise users, but they didn't in a way of like normie users. That's the problem this cycle. There's not many normie cycle users, in my opinion. I think everyone's on Solana, which is a bit of the problem. And will people now gravitate away from that? I don't know. That's another question for its situation or awareness of it. Nvidia shares a good buy now, I reckon. Let's have a little look actually. Let's have a little butchers because NVIDIA. Feel free to chuck some requests on me if you're interested. Now, I'll be honest. I'm still not buying that. I'm not like. Its market capitalization is $2.9 trillion. Its earnings have been increasing every single time. There's the earnings. I couldn't find them before, but there we are. In terms of estimates, not much higher. So I found it. Yay. I still wouldn't buy that personally. That's my opinion. Just because I think it's already ran. When I think back about life and I think to myself, wow, Nvidia's a really interesting one. I should have done, but I didn't because I'm an idiot. You know, it's hindsight. I think a lot of the top seven, they're not worth buying. They're just not. I think you're better off just holding to the S&P 500, hoping everything else goes up with it. It's like when MicroStrategy was flying to the moon all the way up to like $400, $500 levels. And people were screaming in my own Discord going, I'm not buying that. And then you had other people going, I'm buying that. That's going to melt faces. But then I think to myself, well, it's not going to melt many faces because its earnings are down on its ass. It's only just buying Bitcoin. You know, you can see there, look how much money they've lost. But the value of the stock's going up. Why? Because of Bitcoin and it's how they're creating the volatility. It's great traders. It's already done a 10x. It's the same with Nvidia. Like, why? I'll be honest. Why? To me, I wouldn't buy that. That's just me. How high can this go? Well, the risk reward isn't there. That's just my personal thought on it. It's because when you look at like the base of this move, it's already done like a 12x. Obviously, it's down a little bit now, but that's a fucking hell of a move for the stock market. You know, you gotta look at it with some eyes, with a bit of realism. Borgo, Magic Eden, if you had to pick one, both of them because they're both different. One's a DEX, one's an exchange, or kind of. If Bitcoin went down 50% in one candle, would you be scared? Yeah, fuck yeah, I would. I mean, I've lived through those days before, where my entire portfolio just goes, it just absolutely decimates. And even yesterday, it decimated with the miners. Like literally, I lost a lot of money yesterday. But you just get over it. You just get used to it, and then you like look at it and you think, you know what? That's kind of already happened before. We've been here before. You know, what's the difference? There's no difference. That's the thing. Like we look at certain situations and we've been here before. We've recovered. It goes higher. And that's the interesting thing with the stock market. Yeah, we might get some lost decades on the S&P 500 or Bitcoin has like a year bear market or altcoins have a forever bear market. We just don't know where it's going to go, do we? But people get really cut up about like the simple little fine details, and you shouldn't be really. But hey, it is interesting. Morning, Ashley. Hope you well. Just buy Solana. Yeah, Solana is an interesting one. Solana, I think Solana will go higher. I think in terms of metrics for Solana, what you need to measure it by is dominance. So currently we're at 3.37% of the market. Now, dominance is key for Bitcoin. It's key for altcoins. I've mentioned before, look at how bad the Ethereum dominance is doing. Not looking good. Is Solana, is XRP going to flip Ethereum? Well, why not? Let me know what you think. What you think, right? Do you think XRP or whatever, or even Solana right here, 3.36% of the market? I think that will go much higher. I do. I got a feeling it will go much higher because people are there and people are interested. And as Solana develops and stuff like that, and obviously it had a little bit of a link to Bitcoin with Phantom Wallet where you can swap your Bitcoin on Phantom, which is brilliant, right? The problem we have is where does Ethereum go from here? Where does other assets go, how does BNB get a bigger market share because we're in a bull market? Look, obviously, like bullish markets, you can obviously hear, and obviously that when it topped out. Well, to be honest with you got to remember with FTX crash here, that was why that went up, but that went up to 6% of the market. Solana's currently 3.36% of the market. Obviously, Bitcoin dominance is much higher. Obviously, my little wise prediction was, oh, we're never going to go above 60% because Ethereum's too strong. Turns out Ethereum is made like wet paper and it kind of melted and halved its dominance, which is why we're so much higher. So we've got to look at that as a huge thing, realistically. So it's interesting. Nvidia buy now and find out how painful guarantee the earnings might be. Yeah, I think with Nvidia, I think you're kicking cans down the road at the minute, which could be fun. Not if you're investing though. If you're trading, it might be fun, but if you're investing, no. Borrowing against it instead of selling BTC, good. Nah. I think any leverage position where it becomes collateral as loans is really risky in crypto. Like, I don't agree with it. I agree with trading if you're trading with like little set leverage and you can manage that. But there's people that, honest to God, I just cannot get my head around it. They will go on to like my Discord and they'll talk about like, I want to like buy a car. Can I do it with Bitcoin? Well, yeah, you can, but it's a bit risky. Why is it risky? Well, what if Bitcoin drops 20%? You've lost all your money. It's like, that won't happen. It will happen because history tells you that happens. It's like, look at the chart. How many times does that happen? It's mental. So we have to be very, very careful with stuff like that. What else? What's your thoughts with GFI with BlackRock bounty? I'm not sure what you mean in terms of that question, to be fair. Serious question. Do we think China can advance AI so far ahead of the US? Does seem no, I don't think they will. I think any sort of AI system that comes from China might be wrong information anyways. You got to remember their political agenda here, right? They could create this massive AI app like ChatGPT and spin their own narratives, right? We know that happens anyways in China, right? So we've got to be very, very mindful. Probably already images of that now, to be fair, in terms of history and stuff, but we'll see where things go with it. I mean, at the end of the day, China are a massive force in technology, but they can't just waltz in and just declare that they spent like two to 6 million on building something. Then all of a sudden they're coming out with like all this different data. It's like what? So yeah, you got to be very, very careful with it. You got me in the market. God, I've been wrecked learning the ropes. Yeah, weirdly you get stuck in it. You know, I remember when I first started in 2016, I was the same. I got in, I lost money, built money, rinse, repeat, and you just get stuck and then you get used to it and it becomes a way of life. What do you think of inject? Is that in oh fucking hell, what's it called? Engine. I think engine's probably a bit behind, to be honest with you. In all fairness, there's so many better options now. I saw some BTC at 24K to buy a car. Guess which is worth more now? I'm gonna presume Bitcoin, unless you bought a really awesome car. Why did Trump buy WBTC? I don't know. I asked this question on one of my last live streams actually because it just doesn't make sense. Why would, right? Now, I know I'm not the president of the United States, but ultimately, let's talk about this in an obvious and open forum. Why would you not buy Bitcoin and buy Ethereum? Like, I think they've bought obviously Wrap BTC, as we mentioned. They bought Ethereum, they bought Chainlink, they bought Tron. I can't remember what else. What they bought, I've forgotten. There was like 6 of them, but it just doesn't make sense. I mean, the only reason why you do it would be for DeFi reasons. That's the only reason why. But even still, like you would just buy Bitcoin anyways and just hold it and not worry about the yield. And the yield on it isn't even that great with the Ethereum side of it. So it just doesn't make sense, does it? I don't know. Maybe Donald Trump is going to save us all by pumping Ethereum, and that is the start of it all. May not be. Who knows? But yeah, we'll see how things go. Let's have a little look at Engine. It's been a while since I looked at this, to be fair. Whoa, fucking hell. I had some drawings on there. I can't see how this survives. I mean, you got to think, how different is this market now versus here? I mean, there's a lot of coins that look like this, to be fair. But in the BTC pair, this is going to look awful, isn't it? How bad is this going? Oh, I don't even want to look. Do I want to look? Oh, fucking hell. 145 sats. In the previous bull market, it was 6,007. Oh my God. How? Oh my God. That's a lot of drawdown. 98.41% in 1,600. No, 1,162 days. Ooh, bloody hell. Yeah, I'd be careful with that one. I don't know what the volume metrics are. I probably wouldn't invest in that because some things do okay, but like it's got, what's it got? 24 million volume. The thing is, as I say, there's so much out there. NFTs, for example, there's better platforms now. There's much better platforms now. You know, they've probably changed the narrative a little bit because it was a wallet. Yeah, they've got some decent partnerships, but it's just a bit odd, isn't it? Some things just don't carry on going, or they're just in the wrong narrative and they just don't have the sunlight for a while. If there's a gaming narrative, maybe it might pop up, but I don't know if there's going to be a gaming narrative. But yeah, a lot of unlocks. Token unlocks are done, but it needs a volume, it needs a light, it needs something to spark it up to life, realistically. I think Ethereum does okay this cycle. I'm just not as good as Saul. I like James from Invest. Oh, give over. He's an absolute pleb. Do you follow him? Don't follow him. He's absolutely ruined so many people in my community. We often take the piss now. What else have we got? Have you tried the fine print BTC ETFs? Apparently they can swap BTC for whatever they like when they feel it's warranted. I think for a longer measure. Yeah, well, the thing is, with the clientele, they may not want to sell anyways. That's the thing. And I don't know what they're going to be able to sell or if they does it in an open market or what. I don't like one point of failure. I dislike Michael Saylor buying. It's nearly got 500,000 BTC units now. That's a lot. That's one big point of failure. Obviously, ETFs could be another one, but they're spread out over like 8 or 9 different ETFs. That's a bit different. So yeah, it kind of worries me a little bit when I talk about like, well, where is all the Bitcoin? Well, it's in the hands of a few at the minute, which could be interesting. So we need to be very, very mindful of that. But yeah, we'll see where things go. Jupiter looks like it looks strong. 20 million, 20 billion MC looks on the table. Yeah, Jupiter's decent. Radium could be decent. I think any sort of aggregator or DEX around Solana could be doing well. But that was the same with Ethereum. Ethereum was exactly the same. Like when we think about the last cycle, look at MakerDAO. Look at, even Uniswap or Aave. They all did fantastic with the DeFi run with Ethereum, whereas this cycle is more Solana based. And you got to think those assets might be fantastic realistically, but they might not be. We don't know. Depends on the utility. This is why I'm going, what about Swissborg? What about some of the other smaller ones that will get retail and they'll do okay because many different things will go around, but do we get retail? Ultimate question. I don't know. That's where it gets a little bit harder for a lot of things. But it could be a lot worse, realistically. It could be way worse. But how many people will just go to Phantom Wallet now because it's easy? Or Strike because buying BTC is very, very easy as a dollar cost average. You can do the exact same on Swissborg, by the way. You've got Kraken, very, very easy to use. There's so many things now versus the previous cycle. Very, very different. We shall see. Anyone got any more final questions? I'm just checking to see how many. Only 0.4% drop frame. So that's much better. Way better. Giant token unlock from Jupiter on Friday. Ooh. I don't think Jupiter's worth buying at some of these prices that we're at right now. If there's going to be a big token unlock and we've got no retail, it might well drop down a little bit. There's a lot of hype here. So just need to be mindful. I'm personally not going to buy it, but as you can see here, it is ranging. It's consolidating, but a lot of token unlocks are very interesting. There's other stuff out there, as I said before, Swissborg. I don't even know if they're going to get a decent kind of thing. There you go. This has actually had a really big run and it's consolidating right now, but in the past, there's no data. Actually, no, there will be. Way higher. So there's grounds for it. Radium. I know I'm like kind of talking here, but I should really be sharing my screen. Radium is Radium's doing well. Yeah, it's like some of these have like really ran already. Radium, for example, but they could do much more multiples. I'll go back to Jupiter because he kind of missed that. But Jupiter's kind of like consolidating from launch, but could pull back quite aggressively. This token unlocks interest and it could pull back quite aggressively. But we'll see where things go. Fortin Ondo. I've never really looked at it. I've seen a lot of people talk about it, but I've not really looked much at it. I've not looked at many altcoins over the last couple of months. I'm just not that bothered. You know, what have we got? Fed full dilution 13.2. Oh god. I like the website, but I know that website's very easy to copy. Yeah, it's all right. I'm just not bothered. Is it worried that I'm not bothered about altcoins? Or like, I think I've made enough money on altcoins in the past, and I'm just not that bothered now. You're very pro on Bitcoin, aren't you? The same? No, not really interested in. There's only one Bitcoin. There's only one financial asset that's like Bitcoin, and Litecoin is definitely not. Litecoin's a very interesting play that follows the market with it, but it isn't the greatest. Do you think alt season ends by May and BTC tops out in November? In October? I don't know. I don't even know if we're going to see a alt season at this rate. We've got to put that on the table. What if money doesn't come in? What if Bitcoin just keeps going up? It's a Bitcoin season. That's going to hurt because dominance is going to keep going up. We're not going to get that rotation. It's going to hurt. But we'll see. We'll see. I might be on the version of my own capitulation here, if that's the case. I love watching UT at 1.45x. ME hasn't run. Well, ME won't run yet because it hasn't had its what do you call it? It hasn't had its airdrop fully thinged yet. I think they're going to be doing the claim, and the airdrop will be getting burned or something. I can't remember. So whoever doesn't claim, that's it. You know, it'll get put in the bin, so to speak. So that might be the change. You got to remember with a lot of like altcoins, right? If they come out as airdrops or they've got high emissions, they're going to have a lot of sell pressure. So when we talk about Magic Eden, it's really hard to time the bottom. And obviously we're at this level here. Obviously it's going to come out, people got free money, it's going to get yeeted. Uniswap is exactly the same. There was a couple exactly the same. When they come out as airdrops, they do the exact same thing. Uniswap, as I say, if you go back in time and you look at, Uniswap, for example, it came out, it got yeeted for a while, for a good couple of months. Well, it wasn't even about a month and a bit. And it found the bottom and then it went off it went. But it's just because of airdrops. People do not like to hold free tokens. They're just like, oh, free money. Yay. To be honest with you, I'm the same. Thoughts on Nia? Nia's good. I like Nia. I used to hold it. I sold it for profit because I was not that bothered about it anymore. I already made a decent chunk of Bitcoin on it. Double-edged sword for me, really. Sold for Bitcoin. Bitcoin flew. I was very happy. Anyways, I'm going to shoot. Appreciate everyone that turned out. We'll be back tomorrow, so to speak. Probably won't be doing Thursday, but I'll be back tomorrow.